So the plan for today, Sam's just gonna get the boat, is to sail out here from São Martinho and go to Peniche. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Today we're at a different place, somewhere in the middle of the ocean with Sam Holmes. He kindly let us on board of sail yacht Pickled Herring, and we just thought I'd have a chat with him. A lot of people know him for his sailing, but you started probably paragliding even way before sailing, right?
Actually, the sailing came first, and then there was a break, and it was all paragliding.
Right.
And then it's been like sailing the last few years now. Yeah.
And now you don't have to choose anymore. You do both, right?
Yeah, I've been dragging around a couple of paragliders on the boat. Haven't found that many places to paraglide on my sailing trips, but a few. And we got a few good flights here in Porto.
Yeah. Well, it's usually you have to paraweight a lot to get something good, and you probably get itchy feet and just want to carry on sailing.
That's the thing.
Right?
It's like I get to a spot that's maybe flyable, and then I would have to wait, like a week or so to get a good flight. And sometimes I just want to get moving. Yeah.
How did you get into sailing and paragliding, I suppose, but sailing?
Sailing was like I went to a summer camp as a kid, just like a week-long kind of like day camp.
How old are you?
Maybe like 14 or 15.
I think that was pretty much exactly the same for me, and I think we just set off from exactly the place where I learned when I was about
really?
15,
where
16.
I was anchored over there?
Yeah.
Cool. I would loved it. Like we had the little, we were on 420s. Me and my brother, we did it together, and like just flipping them over was a blast. Like the more wind, the better.
Yeah.
I didn't really grow up sailing after that. It was just like a one-time thing, and then like later in like 20s, I just went and bought a used sailboat and decided to relearn it.
Yeah. How was that? The one you had before this?
That would be like one before that. It was a similar size. I started on a 22-foot sailboat, and then the one before this was a 23-foot.
Right, and that's the one you sailed to Hawaii.
I sailed that to Hawaii.
Right.
I sold it there, and it got a little bigger boat. It's 28 feet.
And that's what we're on now.
Yeah.
The old pickle. What about paragliding? How did you learn?
I saw some people doing it in Santa Barbara in California, and like they were kind of on the cliffs over there.
Just ridge soaring.
Ridge soaring, yeah. I just thought that was amazing, and like ridge soaring just seemed like the most amazing thing. I didn't really know. I figured that was like the wind was blowing up, and like that's how it worked.
Yeah.
But then it took me a while to actually commit to doing it, But then I started actually learning to Marshall Mountain in LA, and then I got really into thermals flying and speed flying too. It was kind of like both together. Maybe I started speed flying a little bit earlier than paragliding, but I like both. I mean, speed flying, I go back and forth. I kind of like them both equally.
It's whatever one you've done the longest to go is the one you're usually more fond of. Isn't it?
I really like the hike and fly stuff too. Just going up early in the morning and doing like a nice smooth flight out the mountain.
What do you know how many hours you've got or flights or?
Yeah, I think I'm like 250 hours.
Pretty similar to me. I think with that flight we did yesterday.
Yeah.
I think we've just gone over exactly 300 now.
Oh wow.
But
cool.
I've been saying to people I've been on 200 or 250 for the longest, and they're like, "Oh, I actually moved forward here."
Yeah. You just got to round it to the nearest.
Yeah. But what do you fly? What's your favorite style of flying? You're saying about speed flying and hike and fly, but you've done a few comps and
I did
some XC as well.
I kind of wanted to do more hike and fly, speed flying, and then all my friends were doing XC stuff, and then so I kind of got into that with them, and then I really got addicted to like just seeing how far I could go for a while.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple of competitions. Like it was completely uncompetitive. I don't think I finished any tasks. but just to kind of like learn from people and get the
Yeah.
experience of flying in
They
the
say it's
gaggle
one
and
of the
stuff.
best ways, like even if you're not that competitive, it's good because you get all of the meteo weather done for you, you get the retrieves, it's like a bit of a holiday, right?
Yeah, and we went down to Valle de Bravo in Mexico, and it was like just for the retrieves alone, it was like worth it. Like, 'cause it was pretty good value for what you get to fly.
Yeah. Oh, getting bigger.
Yeah,
What's,
we're getting into a little bit more swell out here.
Yeah, we're having to zigzag upwind.
Yeah, the wind was looking pretty good in the forecast, but it's just kind of clocked maybe 20 degrees more further south than we expected, and so it's like right on our nose.
Hence the interview. We have lots of time
Interview it on an angle,
to kill. We also have, this is like, we're wishing that the interview gets cut short by a fish coming on board,
That'd be great, yeah.
or something interesting happening. But
And
you
we
know,
just ate lunch, so it's probably about now we'll actually catch a fish.
Yeah, exactly. So what's been your most memorable flight? You know, maybe not the longest or the whatever more extreme, but one of those that like just you will always remember.
I had these really epic cross-country flights in Florida, which I've only I've done 2 tows ever and 2 flights in Florida really, and it was like I flew about 50 miles from like La Belle, like the middle of Florida, all the way to the coast.
All right.
It was just such a long flight, and
Because Florida's completely flat.
yeah,
right?
I'm used to flying in mountains, and then like they have the clouds up there. It's just like, and California is just desert, so I'm not used to flying in clouds where you can like see the thermals marked.
Yeah.
And it was just really easy, like just going shooting downwind.
How high were you getting there? Do you remember?
I don't remember at all.
Because I remember being in Florida back in the day, a few years ago, and I just remember it felt like a really big sky. Like the clouds were huge, and the cloud base was really, really high as well. So I guess like to do 50 miles, you could do it maybe with 3 or 4 thermals rather than having to do loads.
Yeah, I was at least a dozen or so, or 2 dozen maybe. Like, I think it kind of varies, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't
changes with the
that.
day.
Yeah.
We've been talking.
We're talking about everything.
I just feel like when you're talking to people and you're not recording it, it flows really naturally. And then when it's like an interview, it like both the interviewer and the interviewee. First, why should there be roles? Why don't you interview me? But the other thing is like you feel like you have to hit certain things.
Yeah.
But it is. I do find it quite interesting for like. If you were listening to a podcast or to an interview, to just like not necessarily need to know all the backstory and like the superficial stuff that a journalist would ask you about, because they're trying to put something together that is kind of like how it makes sense, like beginning, mid. Like we could just hear like what you think about fishing or particularly how to gut fish once you get them, and then not hear anything about paragliding or sailing. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be anything. Usually I think the good conversations just end up going there naturally because you're not thinking about...
I've been trying to interview more people on my sailing trips actually, and I find like when I get the camera out and do the interviews, it's like really awkward and uncomfortable. And then I'll stop filming, and then something they'll say, we'll have a conversation. And it's like the perfect thing I would have liked to have had in my interview. Yeah. But then the minute I get the camera out again, I go back to like announcer interviewer mode or something. Yeah. It's just like super.
Yeah, and it's not just you as well. It's probably them as well, because they feel like it's on.
It's just having a camera in their face.
One thing of like when I started my first business, there was a guy that started with me, and he had a production company, and he said, you can learn about, aperture and all the camera settings and the lighting and this, that, and the other. But by far the thing that's going to give you the best like documentary making or interview skills is that like being able to put people in a comfortable spot where you're going to get those whatever conversations you want. And he said, I often used to like, not lie, but like trick people into going, oh yeah, I'm just doing some adjustments, and before you know, like you click it on and you're just chatting and stuff. And they think it's not on, or like you go and you turn it off, but you pretend turn it off, you leave it on, and then when it gets to the end, like obviously if someone says something a bit compromising, you can say, I'll cut that off, but you can just get to the end and say, oh sorry, turns out like I left it rolling by mistake, do you mind if I might use some of that, because that was really good. And usually people go like, no, just go for it. But
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. When I was on the news a few times, like I think that's kind of what the reporters try to do. Like they're asking you all the questions beforehand and just like kind of like conversationally, and then when you get to talking with them, it's like feels much more natural. Like kind of take some cues from.
How have you found doing the YouTube videos? on your own, meaning like one thing I quite like about your videos is that there's not a lot of like extra fat on them. It feels like you edit as you go on the with the record button.
Yeah, that's what I try to do, because it just makes it less work for me when I'm editing it later. So if I can just have the clips all line up into a perfect movie, that's the goal.
Drag and drop.
Straight post it.
But how do you choose what to shoot?
I just shoot what I'm doing, really. I think I've filmed some really bad sailing videos that are just like super boring, so I kind of know what I don't want to shoot, because sometimes I'll just like talk about the wind too much, or the weather, or the course and stuff, and it's like when you watch it back, it's just so dry and there's no visual to relate to it, you know. So I try to shoot like a few angles of the boat sailing when it's doing, you know, when you got some good like shots to visually show what you're sailing through, and then a little bit of like where I'm sailing to and from. And maybe some of the challenges that a particular sail would have that a normal sailing trip wouldn't have, or like maybe my typical wouldn't. So like if there's a special current in the area, or like a type of katabatic wind or something that's like making it more challenging to get around a landmass or something. Just anything to kind of mix it up, I guess. And then when things break, then I try to document that. Like, and I think a lot of times it's like if I forget to film, you know, the stuff, you get stressed out. But I've been trying to like force myself. I'll get the camera out, take the time to document that stuff.
For me, it's a really tricky thing, because you're always doing like interesting projects, so you think I should be recording this, and then you end up with way too much, and then at least for me, I end up with so much footage that I feel overwhelmed, and I just don't want to.
Yeah, if it's too big of a
deal
project,
with it.
You don't want to like even starting, isn't it?
But then I suppose it really depends on what you're doing, because if it was like a driving channel or whatever, pretty clear, like you start at home, you leave, and then you do the thing, and you overcome the mountain, and then you come home.
And I gotta like not be too precious with the footage too, because maybe I like something but I filmed, but then it's like, oh, it doesn't really fit with the rest of it, and it's just like you gotta trim out the fat sometimes.
Yeah. I saw a really interesting video yesterday from this guy that does programming in Unity, and he does games, but his videos are really cool, and there's loads of visualizations, and it usually goes from a simple concept and expands it out to something really cool and complex at the end. And his process, which I was just thinking you could only do that with software, you can't do that with real life, is he does the whole project, doesn't record anything, but because he has all of the versions on GitHub, when he goes to do the video, he actually goes back and like downloads the version he started with that is really like crappy, has like 2 sticks in it, and then says, okay, these 2 sticks, I'm just trying to make them move like this. And then the next version, they add something else, so he makes another GitHub commit, and then now these like new colors or whatever. So you can like almost go back in time and show the thing and like skip the boring bits.
Yeah, just rebuild it as.
Kind of like if you like, saved versions. Like I suppose if we lived in the Matrix, you could do that, like going back and forth in time to tell a story. Like you do the whole story and then you go back to capture the bits that you want.
Yeah, I find like there's really not much to film actually, like on the sailing, like because it's the beginning part, the end part, so a few minutes there, and then at a few points in the middle. So it's actually like not a lot of work really to actually filming it. It's more the editing later that's like ends up being the. It's like if anything happens, just try to document that, and then when I'm editing, I can always just get out the camera and say what happened, you know, too. If you can tell it in a compelling way, and maybe put some other sailing visuals over it. But I try to make it simple for myself, not trying to get too fancy.
Yeah, it's one of those things like doing exercise or anything else. They say if it's not really sustainable, I find it. I think I push it too far sometimes. But I want it to be like look really cool. Yeah. But then I spend way too much time. They don't do it. I don't release it, and then basically it's not as good as not doing it, but it's pretty close to not doing it at all.
Yeah. So do you ever struggle to find topics, or do you have more topics than you have time to do?
Oh man, I have so many topics. I was just looking at I was having a little meeting with Gemma this morning, looking at like the list of projects I have like open. Not even the ones I want to do, the ones that are open, and I'm like, it makes me want to cry because I have like.
How do you decide which ones to finish?
Usually, like they have their own deadlines for different reasons, and usually it's the ones that don't have deadlines that get thrown by the wayside, even though they're actually physically complete. They just need a video, and the video wouldn't be that hard. But
that's a shame.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you've been putting off for just a long time you really like to do, but
Yeah,
can't
the one I showed you with the ozone line tuners.
Oh yeah, that was a cool
That's
thing you
been
did,
done
yeah.
and finished for a good year and a half.
Oh man.
And it's not going to be a super complicated video. It's just like, hey, here the idea is to do this thing, and here's a few prototypes that I did along the way. This one worked pretty well. I tried a few different materials. It's done. People use it now. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, that you could almost fit in a YouTube short. Have you tried any of the short?
Yeah, maybe I should do that. But I feel like they don't have
I
like as much
like
longevity. I don't know if they're going to go missing
Yeah.
at one point, you know?
I don't like them, but like they say you're supposed to do that.
I think they
guess.
would definitely fit in a short.
Apparently it helps your algorithm too or
Yeah.
something. I haven't done any yet though.
I've done a few that are like really quick tips about paragliding, like if your wing lands upside down, how to turn it right side up again. And that fit really well, and the video's done really well. But again, yeah, they say it helps, but it's the effort.
Did you notice like how that performed? Did more people watch it or less people, or like is there any
I think
feedback on it?
I think for some reason on Instagram it does. The reels do way better than the YouTube shorts.
Okay.
But that particular one I think did better than one of my regular videos on YouTube. But I don't know. I think you get 2 or 3 cents for it.
Yeah.
Like rather than, I don't know, $50.
Well, I know recently they added the monetization to it that like was really low before, or maybe not existent at all.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't tried it though. 'Cause, I don't know. The longer form stuff works for me. You know.
Yeah,
why mess with a good thing, kind of. Sometimes I've been thinking like, oh, there's maybe some really short trips I do that don't really merit a whole video. Usually I just kind of combine them into another video, but like maybe I could try it as a short.
Yeah.
I kind of get disappointed though when I see a short from a channel I like, because I am expecting to see, I want to see like a 15-minute,
full thing,
10-minute video, and then it's like, I
Well,
want to
this
see
is
a
what I
30-minute
feel as well. Like when you
clip.
do a video for YouTube and a proper like 16:9, I think TVs are going to be around for a long time. Or that kind of like watching experience, or a computer. Where the phone, like I don't think the future is going to be like people looking at their phones all the time, because that's already a problem now.
Yeah.
So I think vertical video, like if looking short term, for sure is super important, and it's grown massively and probably will continue to do, but I don't know if it's the future. You know what I mean?
I hope not, yeah.
Like, cause then if you do the YouTube videos and
Yeah.
or like about this Twister things, I do the YouTube video for that, then I have YouTube or not have that video for a long time. You can put it in different things, but if you do a short, even if it's like YouTube might get rid of shorts,
Yeah.
if it like they wake up tomorrow on the wrong side of the bed, it's like, okay, all shorts, they don't even show in the same feed as everything else. I don't know.
I mean, I guess there's TikTok and Instagram too, but
Yeah,
I don't
that
really
feels even
understand
that feels even more like ephemerous. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you're like
Oh, yeah, totally.
on top of the hill today, and tomorrow you don't exist.
I posted one video on TikTok and I got 200,000 views. I was like, oh wow, this is cool. Let me try it. And then I've done maybe a dozen since then, and I'm gonna get like 100 views.
Yeah, that's the algorithm
1,000
saying
views.
let's
This is like-
capture this.
It's kind of
guy.
like
Yeah,
that's how I've not been exploring that too much.
yeah. It's a tricky thing, eh? It's almost like working for a company that you don't know what like.
You don't know what they want.
What, yeah, yeah. Like you do something random and like, well done, Andre. Here's some rewards, and then you're like, okay, I'll do more of that. Okay, no reward now.
Have you had videos that were just like or just like throwaway videos you happen to post and they ended up just blowing up?
Man, we got this video about making paper paragliders. We were like stuck at home. We didn't have any, like, oh, let's just try it, screw it, like not think too much about it. The paper paragliders were terrible. We were trying them out at the back of Gemma's mum's house, which was completely leaside. Like, it's just everything, like terrible lighting, everything about it was horrible video, dragged on forever, no conclusion, no like, but for some reason I put like a really tiny, like maybe a couple of inches across paper paraglider in the windowsill, and the light was just right, and took a picture, like an actual still for the thumbnail.
Oh,
and I don't remember what the title was, and that started really slow, but then over time just took off, and like, and there's loads of people on it that don't even like or know what paragliders are, and it's just like disappointing that it just what it chooses.
Yeah.
I think the
how many views did it get? Do you know?
I don't know, like 130,000.
Yeah. You think it was a thumbnail that kind of started it?
I think it was. Yeah, it was a very pretty looking thumbnail by mistake. But again, I think I have other cool ones, but the algorithm says no.
Maybe paper paragliders. It's got like a nice alliteration to it. Or something, maybe.
But I don't know. I mean, if you were doing this scientifically, I'd say that I need to spend way more time on the title and thumbnail. But it just feels really yucky.
Yeah, I'm so bad at thumbnails. A lot of times I'll just be sailing from here to this place, you know. When really you need to do it like, oh, those whales got so close when I was sailing, you know, like you have to like.
Yeah, you like with your hand like this and the tail of the whale in the back and. Yeah, you boat in
I think you can do titles that are like gripping, you know, and make you want to click them, but also don't aren't get the video rewards, you know, the title. Like it matches what it is, but it's not like way I think instinctually. Yeah,
I don't know. It just feels like maybe I think too philosophically about it, but I just feel like there's some kind of price to pay.
Yeah.
You know, like. You know, the boy that cried wolf. You know, the boy that cried wolf. Yeah, there's some. No, I'm not saying individually, but as a society, I think there will be some price to pay at some point for all of this, like interneting that we're doing, and all of this clickbaiting, and all of this, you know, fake newsing, and like, because the whole fake news thing, as far as I see, it's just a monetary thing, right? Like you make some outrageous claims, you go very close to the bone, and then. You sell more newspapers, or people tune into your TV channel, or whatever it is. So then the next people have to outrage even more, and then it becomes a thing like, well, outraging is the thing to do. And then I just feel like at some point we're going to pay for it. So I don't think it's worth jumping on board of that too much to make a living now, because like God knows in 5, 10, 20 years.
Yeah, but I mean, I think there's just properly advertising yourself is like.
You can't be too
you can't downsell it too much, and I've downsold things a little too much sometimes too. Yeah.
Well, whoever can have the perfect judgment on that is.
But I've also gone a little too on the other side too, and people complain, "Oh, why did you say that when it didn't really happen that way?" So I don't know. Yeah. He's keeping us from catching the good fish. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is the time of day to catch it. Yeah. We probably just caught it like before we were getting to the rock. Maybe like you said, it felt funny over there.
Yeah. Well, I haven't been pulling on it for a while. But yeah, I suppose with this thing, you'd expect to catch much bigger fish. I didn't know. Yeah, I suppose you can still get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one doesn't have the teeth that the other one.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Like,
there's kind of something back there.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, that's just the pattern on it, I see.
Yeah.
Huh. Huge. What do we have? I bet it's another bonito.
It's the weight.
Okay. Let's do this on. Bonito. I feel like fishing with a hand line is so much less climatic than...
It's even smaller, I think. It's about the same. Same guy.
Yeah, the rag's right. Oh, it made noise.
Oh, this one was hooked just by one.
Alright, okay, 3 now. Still got maybe another 45 minutes.
Yeah, they keep... need a reel for this.
With it, it's been like 10 seconds and you got another one.
Yeah, probably. 10 fish.
Yeah, it's probably a school of them. I guess because it hasn't been dragged for a while.
Got it?
Yep.
Win.
The 3 in the bag.
How's the...
hit the red button.
Red button?
Yeah.
Oh, it goes to standby?
Yep. And I'll just hold it. It might actually steer on this course because we're going upwind. Maybe not. Yeah, we can. Okay, we're recording.
Oh, are we?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. We are, 4 hours, 5 hours later?
Yeah. We did a tack. And,
quite a few tacks and 3 fish later. I think we got carapaus, which are very classic Portuguese fish to grill in summer, and it's getting to summer. What's your plans for summer? You going to go into the Med?
Going to the Med, yeah. Going through Gibraltar by the killer whales.
Yeah.
There. And then I want to get to Greece, at least to there.
Yeah.
But the exact route, I'm not really.
Do you think you might run out to Greece, as in you might run out of time by the time you get there and go back?
Well, no, I have my residence permit, so I got a whole year.
Okay, that's pretty good.
I got the approval letter. I still have to do a few more steps, but.
That's in Malta?
In Malta, yeah.
Yeah. You have to do the whole getting
So I'll
a
have to go to
residence
Malta.
and everything.
Yeah, because they have the Schengen thing.
Yeah.
How does I guess Gemma, has she had any? I guess you're married. So are you married?
We're not married, but
Well,
she
was she here
kind of
before?
moved before Brexit.
Oh, okay.
And I think back in the day, same thing when I went to the UK, it was like,
Yeah.
it was fine. It was
Uh-huh.
like you could do it. And so she got like a residency
Okay.
permit for Portugal, which I think renews up to like 2 or 3 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had it since 2018.
Okay.
So yeah, with that and being together and having lived here for so long, to be honest, I think after 4 years she can apply for nationality anyway.
Yeah, once you're here for a certain amount of time.
Yeah,
So-
and I think she's been keeping up with her, like she has to have a certain level of Portuguese,
Uh-huh.
and she actually does have a certificate to prove it. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Sounds like she's getting good talking with your dad. And
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. She's getting way less. Because I think even in English, in social situations, she can be a little bit anxious sometimes. So in Portuguese, it's like even more.
Yeah. I
So
could-
it's been really
definitely see
great
that.
to see her getting more comfortable and just like picking up the phone and calling the vets, going, "Hey, when do you have a like maybe it's with people that are not." There's another one.
Oh, you got another one? Heck
Got
yeah.
another one. But yeah, she's been getting on all right. At the beginning, I really thought it was going to be touch and go, you know, whether we're going to be able to stay here or not, because we only came 1 year.
Yeah.
Just to try. This one feels a little bit bigger.
All right. This kind of rock tower. It looks like a tiki man kind of thing in some angles.
A piggy bank?
A tiki man kind of.
Oh, a tiki man. Oh yeah, I know the ones like made of wood and stuff.
Yeah.
Looks like just the same.
The same one.
This is the place for carapau.
Your dad's gonna be stoked.
Yeah. So let me do the triok. There we go, little guy. Oh, we just about got this one. A little bit more, and we're gonna lose him. But
Look at
carapau. Dinner for tonight. The catch is, I think this one is a little bit bigger than the others.
that. All right, we're getting there.
Win.
Yeah,
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
yeah.
We're gonna need a bigger bag.
Bigger bag, yeah.
It's funny, these little things like, okay, don't fully let it open, don't get it fully closed, just like
Making sure I put it back in point.
get it halfway.
Oh yeah. That's smart. So we're just rounding the point here. I think about a little less than 2 miles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
then we're gonna make it into Peniche. Is it not-
Peniche. You got another
Oh,
one?
we got a bit. Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
on.
one.
It's on. Oh god, don't you hate it when interviews just get
just
interrupted
catch
by
a fish.
goddamn fish, man?
Yeah.
It's like bringing the fish in and being like, so Sam, tell me about your childhood. Why was it traumatic? Well, we caught a lot of fish.
We got a lot of fish.
Five fish.
The
Wait.
wind's dying.
Yeah, five, I
Five,
think.
Maybe.
But yeah, thanks so much to Sam for taking on an adventure. I always like doing things I haven't done before.
Yeah, thanks for coming. It
And,
was fun to catch the fish.
Yeah. And well, if you want to follow his adventures, his channel will be down in the description. As always, want to say a big thank you to all of these lovely people here on Patreon and YouTube memberships that support the channel, and obviously big thanks to Sam and Pickle Herring for carrying us along the coast that we're so used to seeing, but we never sail. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.